so I'm going to tell you something if you haven't figured it out already. Funny as money. All right, so real estate to us, we do, once you're doing it for a while, you know, it's kind of like you list a home, you sell a home, list a home, you sell a home. It's just another 3-2-2, right? And so we get used to kind of that, and it's not for them. It's very stressful. So whether you're representing the buyer or the seller, it's your job to inform them and educate them and guide them and get them the best thing, but it's also your job to make it less stressful. Buying and selling a house is one of the top 5 most stressful things for someone to do in their life. The other things are have somebody close to them die, get married, get divorced. So we're like right up there. If any of you have been through any of those other things, then you understand how stressful it could be for somebody.
Actually, getting married is 4th.
Oh.
Geographically moving is 3rd.
Moving.
The last one I saw.
Oh yeah,
anyway.
moving across the country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes divorce is 1st, before death. All right.
Anyways, so my name's Rochelle Vannoy. I am currently out of the St. Rose office, although I do social butterfly to different offices. I haven't been around here very much lately. I'm sorry. I do like this office. It's fun. Aldo's fun. Yeah, and Ryan's great. So I've been doing this 14 years. I am an individual agent. I don't have a team. I do not have an assistant. It's just...
She burns through them.
Yeah, I do. So that's why I gave that up a few years ago. It's kind of like a drug. You know, once you realize it doesn't really work for you, you just stop doing it.
I've never heard it put like that.
Well, you know.
Have you ever thought maybe it's not the drug? No, I'm kidding.
It could be. It could be my hallucinogenic side effects, but I'm not going to go there.
So tell them about your production level the last 3 years.
They're completely confused right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I have finished for the last 9 or 10 years. I don't think what year is it? It's 2010 years. So I finished in the last 10 years in the top 5 in my office for individual agents, and so that means I usually close somewhere around 40-50 deals a year. The most I've ever closed is 55. The least I've ever closed in a long time is 38. It's just organization, keeping a good schedule, and doing top priorities. You know, it's doing your job until your job is done. So you can do it in 2 hours, or you can do it in 10 hours. I don't care. You just got to do it.
So true. So true. So before I get, I want to talk a little bit about our conversation this morning, because even when you're producing at a level, you have moments like we had this morning, right?
Yeah.
Like I was in the parking lot of the office. But before that, okay, so in order to, and I told them the exact number, between 38 and 50, most of the time in the 40s, most of the time in the 40s.
High 40s.
And I didn't realize it was for the last 9 or 10 years. I thought it was like 5 or 6. Yeah, that's great.
10 years, yeah.
Because I've known you for like
Crazy.
6, 7 years now. Maybe more. I've been with the company 5. Yeah, I've known you for like 8 or 9 years now. Wow. Anyway, let's move on, shall we?
Let's jump in. Okay, they don't want to.
So, all right. So, in order to do those kind of deals, tell them, give me your daily schedule. They should need to hear your daily schedule.
All right. I get up at 5:15 every day. Yes, even in the summer. I get dressed, you know. Oh, that would be lovely, darling. So I get my stuff together. I get to the office at 7 o'clock. At 7 to like 7:15, I have an affirmation partner, and I reached out to this person many years ago. We've been doing it with each other for quite a few years. That sounds bad. We've been doing it with each other for many years.
I wasn't going to
But
comment.
my husband might not like that one.
When you do that, you just keep moving.
Right, right. No, he's an adorable little Asian guy. And he's not in my market, so it doesn't matter who your affirmation partner is, but they have to be accountable and reliable. So we talk every day, Monday through Friday, and we talk for just a few minutes. And so we have affirmations that we say to each other. So what are affirmations? Affirmations are statements that start with I am. They do not have to be true at this moment, but they will become true when you say them and you believe them. I am a firm believer, what you set your mind on, you can do, period.
Totally agree.
You know, the only thing that gets in the way is the thing between our two ears. So, we do affirmations, and like I said, that takes about 15 minutes. I have a couple of minutes if I needed to get something done or send something out, scan something, whatever. And then at 7:30, I role play. I have 3 role play partners right now. I've been doing 3 for the last, I don't know how many years. Only because I have another call I get on a Monday, and Friday I play hooky. So,
Which is good.
yeah, you know, whatever.
Deserving for yourself.
Hey, I tell it like it is. So, and so role play, we do different things. It's not a social hour. My role play partners I change every 6 months at the most. And again, you don't have to have somebody in your market. You don't have to ever meet them. You don't ever have to talk to them for anything besides this. But again, they have to be reliable. If you find someone that's not answering the calls or not, you know, really putting their good effort forward, switch them. Just fire them and hire somebody else. I mean, it's not like...
And people that role play are used to that.
Yes, and even someone that's never role played before, you can explain to them what you'd like to get out. Again, expectations set up front help you to be okay with the end. If you weren't clear in the beginning, you can't be mad at someone. All right, if you're in a diet and you're not telling your friends you're on a diet, and you go out to eat and they say, where do you want to go? And you don't say anything, and they go, okay, let's go to Buffalo Wild Wings, right? And you're like, oh, crap, you know?
Well,
There really isn't anything on their menu that's any good. That sounds bad, sorry.
It's true.
But yeah, the truth hurts sometimes. So that's your fault, because you didn't set up the expectations with your friends, right? So it's the same thing with role play. So what do my role play partners expect? They expect me to be on time. They expect me to be in a place that's quiet, where I am focused, and I can take notes and give them feedback as well as they take notes and give me feedback. Because that's the purpose, is to learn and grow. And it's a way to practice what you need to practice. So what do you need to practice? Well, it can change. You can pick one script to do this week and one to do this week, or you can do a different one every day, or you can just, whoever you talked to that week that said no, or just didn't get to the finish line, do the exact same thing with them. And ask them, how did that feel to you? What could I have said or done different that would have made you sign on the dotted line? Whether it's a buyer or a seller, right? That's the purpose of role play. So after role play, I get on the phones. I'm on the phones for a couple of hours. I usually lately have been doing about an hour and a half, and then I take a half-hour break, and then I get back on the phones again for another hour. That takes me until 11, if anybody's doing their math.
Analyticals out there.
Then I will respond to phone calls, emails, and to start lead follow-up at noon. I go to lunch. I take usually a half-hour lunch. I usually pack my lunch just because I'm a food snob and it's expensive to be a food snob and eat out, so I just make my own shit.
Okay, you can delete that, Paul. No kidding.
Hi, Paul.
I do the same thing now.
I make my own stuff. There you go.
Food. It's actually called food, too.
It is called food?
Yeah.
Well, food is very general. I mean, so. Anyways, and then in the afternoon, I go on appointments. So normally I try to schedule sellers into appointments at either 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock. And then at 5:30, 6 o'clock, I go home.
Wait a minute, but people are working at 1 and 3 o'clock, Rochelle.
I know I am working at 1 and 3 o'clock.
Tell them how you do that. That's how I want them to hear.
So
Because I heard a and a couple when you said
Really?
1 and 3. Yeah. You didn't hear that?
I guess
I don't know where it came from, but I just hear two of them.
Yeah. So I don't really get much kickback on that. I haven't, well, every once in a while, I'll go on a Saturday appointment, like a Saturday morning, 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock, maybe at 1 o'clock. I won't schedule anything later than that. And, yeah.
Otherwise, they get off work, or they're not working, or they work second shift, or...
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. In Vegas, I mean, there's 3 shifts, dudes. Everybody works different shifts. My graveyard people are so excited that I'll be at their house at 8 a.m. They're like, oh my gosh, you would do that? And I'm like, I've been up for 3 hours. I'm fine. And then the swing people are totally good that you can come at 11 or 1 or, what I mean? Because they're just, then they get ready, they go to work. The only people that can't do it are the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday people, and believe it or not, some of them have flexible lunches. People don't have the brick and mortar schedule that they used to 10 years ago.
Right, totally agree.
They really don't.
And if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Well, if you don't assume that they can do it, which they can, the answer is always no, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then I rinse and repeat. So it's the same.
The next day.
It's the same.
It's like Groundhog Day.
It is. Sometimes it feels like it.
Yeah. But you get used to it, you get good at it. You guys can ask questions at any time too. I can keep going.
Doesn't that get boring?
It can get boring, yeah. This is the easiest, most challenging job you'll ever do, because the activities you have to do are not physically hard. I'm not asking you to dig a ditch. I'm not asking you to paint a Picasso. I'm not asking you to learn a foreign language or computer code. God help me. So what you physically have to do is not hard, but it is emotionally draining, because you have to be on. You don't have to be on the whole time, which is why you take breaks, right? So you're not on when you're at lunch, you're not on when you're doing emails, you're not on when you're, doing paperwork or whatever. You're only on when you're on the phones or you're in front of your clients.
Awesome, go ahead.
Christopher Scarra. Is your only method of prospecting on the phones?
No. So I do door knock, and I will preview from time to time for sale by owners.
She's looking at me because I try to talk her to
I
that.
know.
Because she's so knowledgeable about the market, and
I,
it's a good activity for you. It really is.
Don't let me dissuade you. For sale by owners today are very nice people. They are generally just normal people. When I started calling for sale by owners is when the market, we had 80% of the homes that were REO and short sale on the market. And so the for sale by owners were investors, and it kind of really,
Yeah.
it did. But anyway,
So yeah, she door
did I
knocks.
answer your question?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
But I would say 80% of your prospecting is probably over the phone.
A majority is on the phones, yes. I mean,
When do you do the door knocking?
usually I like to do door knocking in the afternoons. In the summer, I go earlier, but most of the year you can door knock here. And the reason I do it then is because their kids are getting home. So someone is home, right? And a lot of the people that live here in the valley do have children. And again, so even if they don't have kids, if they worked graveyard, they might be up by then. Or if they work swing shift, they haven't left yet. Do you see what I'm trying to get as many of the pieces of the puzzle together. Also, Saturdays are really good for door knocking, I think.
But when you're calling, it's in the morning.
Calling is always in the morning. Always in the morning.
A couple questions, but I'll ask one at a time.
Yeah, right here, you do.
Question. So, do you do a specific farm, or are you kind of wherever the money is? That's where I'm going.
I do not have a farm. You can run your business however you want. You do not have to run it how I do it. That's the best thing about real estate is you can be a person who only door knocks. You can be a person who only does social functions. Like if you are the social butterfly that runs up and talks to anybody, yes, I see you back there, don't worry. And you guys, you stand out like
Or expressive.
Flowers.
That's her
right?
favorite.
Like flowers.
Her favorite personality style is expressive. by the
No,
way.
I love expressives in short bursts of time. So, see?
Yeah, what do you think her personality style is, by the way, now that you've heard all four?
Expressive.
No.
No.
Thank you, yes, analytical.
But I get called expressives by expressives
Because
all
she
the
acts,
time.
yes.
Analytical?
She's worked at being more versatile.
I am versatile,
That's very nice.
and I can be very mean.
By the way, only analytical say versatile too.
I noticed that.
Versatile. Oh, this German moves, see that?
It does.
You got
Be
me a
careful.
toy at the same time. So let's see, what was I doing? I was doing something. You were asking about the
Your farm.
The farm.
the farming.
Non-farm.
Oh yes. So I gave up farming when I moved from Pennsylvania, and the soil here is just
Amish.
not really good.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw that out. So, so no, I'm not a farmer. There are many people who have made their whole business on farming. If you want to be a farmer, you have to be and know everything about your farm. So you have to know how many homes are for sale, how many have sold, whether prices are going up and down. You have to know what the turnover rate is in that neighborhood. Because if you don't know those numbers, even as an expressive, because expressives are great at door knocking, if you don't know your numbers, you can't help them. So no, I'm not a farmer. So my business, most of my business lately comes from referral. What does that mean? So that means my current or past clients that I personally call and stay in touch with. Okay, so don't think that 10 years later they just call me out of the blue. I've been thinking about you every day since you sold me this house and I just have to use you to sell it, because that does not happen.
It would be nice though.
It would be freaking amazing. And so you have to stay in touch with them. So I stay in touch with them. That's my main source of my business. Old expireds are probably second, then just listed,
Yeah.
just solds, and for sale by
I was
owners.
talking about your old expired. But now, come on in. Come on,
Yeah.
you don't worry about it. She doesn't bite hard.
Hard, yeah.
So, but now, just to clarify, now when she goes out door knocking, she's doing very similar to farming type activities just around her listings and sales.
Correct. So
Yeah.
I make promises to my clients, whether they be my buyer or my seller, and I keep my promises. So if you hire me to sell your home, I am going to do everything I can to get it sold. So I am going to call the neighborhood. I'm going to door knock the neighborhood. If it's a neighborhood where open houses work, because some work better than others, right? You don't do an open house in a guard-gated community. It doesn't work unless it's really high end.
Yeah.
And then you get look-ins anyway, so whatever. So I do whatever it is that takes. So that makes it less boring. Okay, I'm not talking to the same people. I'm talking to different people every day. And I'm talking about a different house every day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing that I'm doing is the same, but the conversations are different because different neighborhoods have different feelings and different personalities.
Plus, when you go through the first time, like if you're having an open house, the first time you go door knocking for the open house is usually your best results.
100%.
Yeah.
So what is the rhythm that you follow for the referrals? Like how often do you call them and what do you generally go over?
Good question.
Great question. So
She knows the answer to that.
I do. Whew. Haven't stumped me yet. So when I call my past clients, I always ask them first what I can do to help them. I call them at least twice a year. And if they are good clients and they refer clients to me, I may call them as much as once a month. So I have some people that I know had a great experience, and if I stay in touch with them when they get ready to that point to sell, they will use me as long as I call. And I have other people that I know that are just one of those people that send other people to you. Not everybody's like that. We love you. And so when you get somebody like that that refers people to you, then stay in touch with them. Find out what else you can do to help them. Let them know they are helping you and you appreciate it. Yes.
How do you become so knowledgeable about the market? Like, what do you study every day, or?
Okay. So, how do you become knowledgeable? Well, time obviously would make you knowledgeable, but what will make you knowledgeable sooner is being proactive. So, pretend that if you don't have you've made all your calls, right, or door knocked, and you're done. It's 1 o'clock. You have no appointments. Instead of going home and sitting in front of the TV and watching God knows whatever's on there, pretend you have an appointment with a buyer. Preview 5 houses that you think that buyer who's buying a $500,000 house, pretend you're the buyer. I always put myself in the shoes of the buyer and I say, if I had that amount of money and I wanted to live in that side of town with that number of bedrooms, what would I want to buy? And as long as you keep that in mind, you're going to become really knowledgeable about this city, the whole thing.
And you just go through the MLS and just.
Yeah, just
Look
Yeah.
at this.
And do you get like stats from your broker or anything? Like
our
weekly
company
or?
here sends it out once a month.
Yeah.
So they will send you, are they not with us?
Yeah,
I am. I just.
Oh,
I'm brand
I'm just
new.
making
I
sure,
don't know
because
anything.
There's a
sometimes
couple
we
people
do
here that
that.
aren't with the company
Okay.
yet.
So
I just.
Or,
Yeah.
we send out once a month. Our broker force Berube makes me look like a freaking expressive dancing on a
Tables.
yeah. And so he crunches all the numbers for you, so you don't have to.
Yeah.
At the same time, again, if you're a farmer, remember Farmer Joe must know everything about their farm. What Forrest tells you is about the whole city.
Yeah. So if you're gonna pick a neighborhood, then you want to when she's talking about previewing, you're gonna always keep
Everything.
up with everything that's active.
Every single listing in that neighborhood, you better preview.
Because when it goes under contract, then you know. So now when you go on appointments, every house you're talking about in your CMA, you've been in, or at least you've seen every picture, and so very important.
How do you make up your time? Because you're writing a contract a week. So there's a chunk of your time that's out of your rhythm. So how do you make up that time? Because
To write a contract?
once a week you're talking to somebody and writing a contract. So
Sure.
you have to make up that time.
Some weeks more than that. Yeah.
Right.
Well, she's got 2 appointments per day.
Yeah, and I don't get 2 appointments per day. So whatever time I don't have filled with appointments, I either do more prospecting, more lead follow-up, or preview, or go to new construction, or things like that.
How long do you normally take writing a contract with somebody?
10 minutes. I mean, that's,
Really, that fast?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get good at it. Well, remember now, her appointment time is in the afternoon.
Yeah,
So her
follows.
contract writing time is also in the afternoon,
Okay.
Yeah.
when she can help it. I mean, like she just said, she may
Somebody
go
calls you at 8, you got to be there at 8. Yeah.
well, it depends. I mean, somebody calls you at 8 and they can see you at 1, then you wait till 1. If they can't, then you go at 8 and have it signed. So you always try to, see,
And you always prep ahead of time.
yeah,
So if you don't know how to do a contract, you don't know how to do a net sheet, whether it be a buyer or a seller contract, learn it.
yeah.
Okay? If you don't, again, the more comfortable you are, the more comfortable your clients are going to be. Children are a great determiner of your responding to an adult's emotions. As a child, if they are with you and you're in a new environment, if you are relaxed and calm, they feel that and they, again, are relaxed and calm. What you don't understand is that your clients sense that about you.
Yeah, they do.
And whether you know it or not, you're giving them nonverbal cues about whether you're engaged, bored, happy, sad, afraid, and they will sense that.
Same with prospecting, by the way. Same with prospecting.
You know, if you're nervous, you might want to go and you go, oh gosh, I'm so nervous. And then go on and start doing it. And they might say, oh, me too. Or you know what I mean? So if you say it in a way where you're honest and you're genuine, it's not a bad thing.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Put 'em to
So
sleep.
you use the VAC and what other platforms, whatever?
For me
technology?
personally,
Yeah.
okay, so as far as technology stuff that I use, so out of the company stuff, I was around before the VAC. So I don't use it just because I'm lazy, in case you didn't figure that out, and I don't want to shift everything over. So I have top producer. Do not buy top producer. You can get the same thing for free with the VAC.
True.
Yeah.
Remember I was
Swear to
telling
God,
you-
I'm not just telling you that.
Remember I was telling you that some of the agents that have been with the company a long time, they already have other stuff prior to the VAC becoming a rock star like it is.
Yeah.
So,
I use the buy side. The buy side is a fantastic tool, I think, in multiple ways. It is for you if you have a buyer to help you find a listing before it hits the market. If the market's hotter than right now, or there are some pockets that are hot right now, that'll help you look like a rock star. Again, you're showing them something that isn't even for sale. No one else knows about it yet. You can advertise it that way. Oh my gosh, I found this house. It's not on the market. You're going to love it. It's perfect. It's exactly what you're looking for. It doesn't hit the market till Friday. We can see it on Wednesday. When can you go?
yeah.
You know, and then you're the rock star. So
You guys will learn the buy side before we take the VAC. It's really a good tool.
it is a great tool. Our newest partner is AdWorks, and boy, I jumped on that bandwagon because I love that idea. So with Berkshire Hathaway,
It's analytics. See, just the word makes her like it.
you get 7 days of free advertising clicks around the web on your new listing. Every new listing. And then you can extend it if you want, if it's not sold or if it's getting a lot of good activity and it's going to get you referral for other things, buyers or sellers. So that's another one that I use in the company. Outside of the company, I do a lot of calling. So my dialer, I have a dialer. The company I use is Mojo. And again, that's because I've been using them since they were like the first guys on the
Started.
block.
Yeah.
And so there's many other dialers out there that you can use. Vulcan has a dialer, Red X has a dialer.
Red X is actually good now. It's a triple dialer now.
I know.
I haven't
and
used it, but I hear it's really good.
That's what so you might want to check Red X out if you're new, because I was told that they have no lag time.
Yeah,
That's their new thing.
that's what I heard.
So if you dial a lot, basically what that means, when you get a call from a robocaller, you hear that pause.
Yeah.
It's like dead space, and then
Yeah.
they're like, "Hi," and you hear all this background noise with all these other people talking. Okay, so Red X supposedly has some kind of fix for that. So I don't know.
Sounds good. Maybe you should try it.
I had thought about it.
You have a lot of information.
Yeah, it's just So I use a.
Triple line, Mojo?
I thought she was
I
gonna,
do use triple
I thought she was gonna go get the fire extinguisher and hit some
No, I'm not gonna get the fire. I told you guys I was old. You didn't believe me. This is my day planner, not my phone. And so I like to be able to look at my week in a glance and see what do I have. So how many appointments do I have right now? How many more do I need to get this week to make my goal for this week, right?
So,
And for me, it's easier just to look at it.
like let's talk about this morning for a minute, right?
Yeah.
So you're always closing between 38. What did you do last year? Like 42 or something?
I know last year was 38, but
Last
you know
year?
what's the craziest thing? I made more money last year than I've ever made.
Yeah. It's because you're so lean and mean. No assistant. Anyway, here's my point.
I
Okay.
am.
So this morning.
No, I'm sorry.
So this morning we were talking about your actual numbers, and I think it'd be very valuable for them to hear actives, pendings, what you closed, how you're gonna get that, make it by the end of the year. I think that'd be a huge thing for them.
Okay.
But by the way, when I talk to Rochelle, when I call, she goes, "Okay, I have 3 questions." She's one of the few people when I call, she's like prepared. She asked me, "I'm talking to a seller. What would you say? Here's what's happening." That's what we do first, and then we get into numbers.
So I only have 9 closed right now, which is really behind for me. I should, in my mind, be about 15 or 16.
I was gonna say 15.
Yeah. And I actually have 7 pendings right now, and I have 8 actives. So what does that mean? So that means I have 7 deals that I represent the buyer or seller on that are under contract that are scheduling to close. And then 8 active means I have 8 listings right now that do not have any offers on them.
So let me tell you what that means. 9 plus 7 is 16, plus 8 is 24. So when I said to her, so you're really at 20, and I always cut a couple off to be safe. So she's really at 22 in the pipe or closed right now. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, which is still behind. So, so what I did, because I knew this has been happening, the market has been a little bit weird for 8 months.
I would call it like shifting gears.
Yeah, yeah, which is okay. The faster you can shift gears and adjust to the markets, because the markets always change, then the more consistent you can be in your business.
Absolutely.
So I figured it out because I've been doing this for a long time. I know how many people I have to talk to get a deal, whether it be a buyer or a seller. It doesn't matter to me because I work with them both. Last year was about 65% sellers, 35% buyers.
Which is the perfect ratio.
The year before it was way listing heavy. It was over 75% listings and under 25%.
Which means you was a buyer snob.
Thank you. And then this year, I think it's going to be really almost dead even.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be close to a 50-50 year.
Well, you got a lot of people, you're selling their homes and then you're selling them a house.
Exactly. So that is happening.